Did your child recently have dental treatment that required numbing? If so, this video is for you. Hey y'all, I'm Amy Morgan. I'm the marketing coordinator here for Pediatric Dental Associates and Orthodontics. And in today's video, we're going to be talking to you about numbing care at home. During this whole process of getting your child a treatment plan, of getting their cavities filled, getting into the next appointment, paying for the appointments, all the stuff the dentist has told you, we do understand that some things can be forgotten about. And while we do try to talk about this specific subject while your child is in the chair, we wanted to make this video so that you had an at-home way to know exactly what is going on, just in case your child happens to bite that lip while they're at home. One of the most common phone calls we get after treatment appointments is that the child has a swollen lip, or they've done something to the inside of their cheek and the parent thinks they are having some type of possible allergic reaction to the numbing agent, or that something else has happened during treatment. But in most cases, this means the child has either bitten their lip, sucked on their lip, or chewed on the inside of their cheek while they were numb. During the process of the appointment, the assistant should be telling you what area is numb. They're going to tell you to make sure you're watching this. They're going to make sure and tell you, how long they'll be numb. They're going to say a lot of different things. But in general, what's going to happen is once the actual lip biting or chewing has happened, that is when you're going to be calling us and having questions. So we're going to rewind and go into just the numbing itself and talk to you about the instructions that need to be done to avoid this situation. And then we're going to talk about it because it could happen and we want to know how to take care of it afterwards if for any reason this happens. So number one, when they are numbed or blocked in a certain area of the mouth. Now, you can either watch this process as the hygienist or dentist comes in to numb, or you can follow up with the assistant and ask specifically what areas of their mouth have been numbed. This will be very important for when you're watching them for the next 2 to 3 hours, as the numbing agent can stay active in their mouth for that amount of time. Now, this all depends on how fast their body metabolizes the numbing agent and other factors, but in general, we say 2 to 3 hours. Now, during that 2 to 3 hours, it is most likely they are going to want something to eat because it's very possible they came in early in the morning, had the treatment done, and now we're getting into a late breakfast or we're getting into a lunchtime. You just want to make sure that if they do need to eat, that they are eating soft foods. This will help to overcome the lip biting and the cheek biting or chewing by also chewing on the other side. But they can have things like mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, ice cream, whatever is going to make them feel comfortable where they don't actually have to physically chew a lot. Now, if they are going to be eating something where they do have to chew, we just recommend that you tell them to chew on the other side as needed until the numbing goes away. Now, this feeling of numbing usually kind of feels like when your foot's asleep. So to them, it doesn't feel right. So they want to mess with it. They want to poke it with their finger. They want to grab it with their fingers. They will usually tend to be pushing in on their cheek, trying to get that to have a sensation of feeling there. And when they're doing that, they're pushing it into their teeth and then they're biting down. And so this feeling is very odd to them. So they just want to mess with it. So this is why the assistant is telling you to not let them touch it or pull or suck their lip in. If they've been numbed on the lower part of their mouth, they'll tend to suck in on their lip or tend to bite their lip a lot. If it's in the posterior part of the mouth, that's usually when you get that, the inside of the cheek becomes raw, okay? So those are some things that you can do to try to combat this from actually happening. Now, we know that we cannot prevent every single touch and chew and bite. We know that's not always possible. And we do know that it is bound to happen that someone is going to either suck in their lip in the back seat while you're driving home, or they're going to be messing with it when they get to school and they're going to have chewed in the inside of their cheek. This is common and it is okay. What we want you to know is if you start to see them do this, if you are physically with them, you can actually place gauze in that area and that will help to keep them and remind them to stop doing it. But also just a lot of reminders of don't touch your mouth, don't touch your cheek. Make sure if they are going back to school or to a child care center that you are letting someone know that this is something that they need to be watching for. If you'd feel more comfortable keeping them at home for those 2 to 3 hours, that is also perfectly okay. Once they have actually done the damage, there's really not a whole lot that we can do as an office. Now, luckily, these types of things usually heal very quickly. So you might see a swollen lip, or you might see on the inside of their cheek, it just kind of looks, it's gonna sound gross, but it looks kind of like hamburger meat. And it just is, it's gonna be painful to the touch, and they're gonna say like, my cheek hurts, and you're gonna look in there and you're gonna see just some bad stuff going on in there. Now, your first reaction could be, oh, they're having an allergic reaction, like I said earlier. But if you've watched this video, then you'll know that they've chewed their cheek, or they've sucked their lip, or they've done something while they were numb. And so the best thing to do is just to let it rest. Try to have them chew on the other side as much as possible for the remainder of the day. Also, nothing spicy and nothing too hot, which most kids won't eat spicy, but just in case, you just want to make sure that you're watching what they're intaking once that injury has occurred. Now, you can always call our office. We'll talk to you about it and we'll talk through it. But the biggest thing you want to be looking for is for that area to turn white. When it starts to turn white, it could be kind of scary looking, but actually that means that those tissues are starting to heal. So we're on the up and coming of getting that all taken care of. So again, we know these things happen. Totally feel free to call our office. We'll be happy to look at photos that we can through text message, or anything that we can do to make the child more comfortable. But in general, if you give them ibuprofen, let them rest, make sure they're not messing with it for about 24 to 36 hours, it should be good to go. If anything persists beyond that point, we would be happy to see them in the office and do an evaluation to see what steps need to be taken. Again, this video is being made as a resource for you, but we are also always available by phone number at 479-582-0600. Specifically, if something should happen after hours, we do also have an after hours line that can be reached through that same phone number. Just hit the correct prompts and someone will give you a call back within an hour. And again, we know as parents, these things can be scary when they show up and you're not used to them. So we want to make sure that you have all the information right at your fingertips here on our YouTube channel. We also want to make sure you know that our office is always available to answer any questions. If you have any other questions or any comments related to this specific thing, go ahead and give us some comments below, call our office, or email me at amy@smilesarwild.com.